Hey everyone, it's your main man John, live again. We are here with The Breakdown. It's a brand new thing we're doing on our show. We've done it before, but we're actually naming it now. It's The Breakdown, where we sit down with an artist who's just released a project and we go through it with them and we just get to know a bit more about it from a deeper level. And I'm I'm gassed to be here with an amazing artist. Hey. Cheryl's in the building. How you doing?
Hey, I'm fine, thank you. That was a nice introduction. You just made me feel special in that.
No, honestly, because I think for me, I think consistently, you've always been above and beyond as like especially an R&B artist. You've just always been putting out stuff that for me, sonically is sick. And then now we've got a project with it, you know what I'm saying? When people put out stuff, it's like, okay, cool. And then we've got a body of work, it's a whole different level.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, a whole different ballgame. And I think you really, don't want to say that, be corny, but you hit the nail at the park, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think this EP is really sick. So we're going to talk about the Transition EP. For me, it's just the honesty about it.
Yeah.
And how I can relate to it.
Yeah.
Because like, a lot of people are like, how can you relate to stuff and stuff like this? But I think you really kind of give it a relationship perspective. Kind of, I've seen it from different angles.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that project come about? How long did it take? What's the process like to create a body of work like this?
So I'd always, like, even now, I still have like songs that I've written at home or maybe done demos to that I haven't even worked on in the studio yet. So I remember Fess Up, I had written that I think beginning of last year, and I just had written it to like a very simple beat, and I had taken it to my producer Duante, and then he ended up elevating it.
Yeah.
So what I had written before, like, he was able to help me with harmonies and give his input, you know, to help it get to that next level. But then, for example, Faded Memory, that one we composed over Zoom together. So we were on Zoom and he composed the beat, and then we wrote the song kind of together.
Okay.
So it was all a mixture of techniques as such, but we started working on it actually in the studio from about August. So after I did Crushing, the next month I went into the studio and we were just working on it for a couple of months, and then I thought it was done.
Yeah. I
thought the EP was over. And then I even though I've got so many opinions, like, okay, not from so many different people, but the right people. And it was like, okay, cool. It sounded all right. The mixing and mastering was okay. Then I left it because I was going to release it at the end of last year, but it just didn't make sense. And then when I went back and listened to it for the release of this year, I was like, Cheryl, how are you going to release this? There was so much that I believed was wrong with it.
Yeah.
Like, it needed just little tweaks, but I could hear them, and it was really irritating me. But sometimes you really have to leave a project to the side and then come back to it and listen to it, because otherwise you're listening to it over and over and over and over again. Your ears are adjusting to it regardless. So I'm glad I took that couple months break and then came back to it, because honestly we elevated it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think especially when it's your project, it's like your baby, isn't it? So
trust me.
I hear people all the time like, I'm really worried when it comes out, or this has to be perfect. But I think you hit it correctly, where if you listen to something all the time, you're adjusted to it, and you don't want to point out anything. But when you kind of gone away for a bit, done something else, or worked on other things, you come back to it. You're like, hold on a second, this is not up to standard. And I think it's good that a lot of people take that process, because I hear people, especially when I hear artists talk about stuff they've done like years later, like, looking back at it, I missed the mark here and there, but I think it's good that you did that. And for me, it just really, like, the project's amazing, it's phenomenal, and I think it really hits the nail of R&B, because you've got the different lengths to it. You've got the slow jam, you got the one where it's like, okay, cool, I can jam to this, and you got the kind of the old school R&B vibe of, got a rapper on it, and it's just the kind of, for me, it just really, it's just fundamentally, I think, just places where R&B is at the moment, especially in the UK, because I feel like you've got the American influences, but you also kind of got the UK kind of side too as well.
100%. I am very much influenced by American artists. I would be lying to say if I wasn't. Very heavily influenced by Destiny's Child, Mary J. That's what I grew up listening to. I didn't really grow up listening to a lot of UK R&B music. However, with me, I try to make sure that when I'm singing, people know I'm from the UK.
Yeah.
I can't always, and to be honest, sometimes when you sing certain things in a UK accent, it kind of sounds kind of corny. That's why some people, they tend to not always go with like their accent, or they naturally just sing in a different accent. Like some people will sound American because that's just how they sing. But I really wanted to make sure that like when I say can't and you know what I mean, I'm very like specific. I don't want to sound like, I want people to listen to my R&B and listen to my music and be like, yeah, she's from the UK. She's got us. She's representing us.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's a mixture really. But I don't. Yeah, I would say it's more so US influence. Yeah, 100%.
So let's start talking about the project.
Yeah.
So the lead single, Crushing, nominated for Collab of the Year, by the way, people.
Yes.
Say R&B Awards, I have to put the plug in there.
Yes.
For me, I feel it's like what you said. I listened to it first couple of times, and I listened to it preparing for the interview, and I had a whole different take on it. For me, it's I have to say it, but I think one thing that stuck out to me this time, the bridge of the track, because it just breaks down, and then it's like, yo, okay. Then I feel music, a lot of things I think I personally don't like, but I criticize music, is the build up of songs. Yeah. That song for me was built perfect. Yeah. And then it really kind of got the old school vibe to it, but then the feature as well, Lauren, yeah. So tell me more, how did that whole process come about?
So me and Lauren, we had said to each other we needed to work. Like we just knew that we needed to work together, and it happened that we lived very close to each other because I had moved to Croydon, and we just lived extremely close to each other. So I was like, you know what, like, let's link up. And then it just happened that when I was looking at the vibe I wanted to do, I knew that I wanted to go with G-Funk regardless. I love G-Funk. I love Grandpa. I absolutely love it. And see, with me, my R&B, it's not just one type of R&B. Like, I feel like there's a lot of subgenres, and you can tell that from my EP. So I was like, all right, we're gonna do G-Funk, but she came up with the Crushing concept. She came up with the Crushing concept, and I was like, cool, because once I have a concept, sometimes that for me can be the most difficult thing, but once I have a concept, listen, I can run with that. So she said Crushing, I was like, boom. Like, I like to make songs where, because a lot of women nowadays, I feel like they don't want to express how they feel in their music. It's all like, we don't need a man, I'm a baddie.
100%. Listen, let me know if it goes to this conversation. That is exactly everything I'm saying. Because I think for me, it just becomes generic. Yeah. And then you don't hear the different angle. Because when I think about, Jasmine Sullivan's project, Hotels, I just think for me, it's like, hold on a second, I'm looking at it from that hotel. As a man, I'm like, whoa, this girl's coming aggressive on us. Like, some of the stuff she's saying is like,
it's her pain, though. It's her pain.
The vulnerability, and again, as I said about the project, it really does, and I really feel that it does justice to that side of the women's story. Because as I keep saying, as a man, but a lot of the times with R&B, it's always I don't think we have that I don't need a man type thing that we have in other side of music like rap and stuff. I think it's just more in regards to I'm heartbroken or I'm upset or I'm in love. But I think the vulnerability you showed on it, just for me, is like, okay, cool, this is a different perspective. Yeah, I don't hear a lot in the music anymore recently. Yeah, and a lot of people tend to tell me like my music's quite refreshing. Like when they hear it, they're like, okay, like they don't really hear anything like it, so it makes them just be like, okay, who's this? Yeah. And that's how I've got a lot of new listeners as well, just by being different. Yeah, I think one of the songs that I listened to, I was like, hold on, this I didn't expect this one. And the one I think everybody's really captured to is Fess Up. Yeah. It's one of those ones like I say, like as a man, I'm like, bro, am I on the hot seat or something? like you remember the situation where you're in a similar situation, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, she's talking about that situation. Yeah.
Cool. That's how the girl was feeling. Yeah.
It's a bit of a sticky one still. I don't know what to say. Yeah. So, what is the song about? Because I think, as I said, it doesn't matter, I feel like I'm a hot seat, but what is the song truly about?
So if we're going like in order, so crushing, we've heard crushing, and then we've gone on to fess up, where so fess up is like me saying, okay, I've told you I have a crush on you now. What are you gonna do? Like, I've told you I have a crush on you. You're moving, like you're acting, or you're giving me signs to say that you're into me, but you're not physically saying that you're into me. So what is it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna fess up? Are you gonna, like, what are you gonna do? I need you to fess up because I can't be the one that's always applying pressure.
That's it. Oh no, I really I like, it's just for me, it's like, I think for me it's one of those ones where I don't know, I think everybody, if you know, I feel like it's the, what's the way? Cafe season, the cafe season storyline, that at that point it's like, listen, what are we? Like, why go on? What's happening? Because I'm here to bounce, or I'm here to stay.
I'm here to stay. It's one or the other.
Choose quickly. I'm not here to waste my time. Quickly.
And I know a lot of men have heard that from women, because growing up especially through different stages of your life, especially if you're a teen, late teens going into like your 20s, a lot of men would have experienced women who, you know, do you apply that pressure and do you stick it on them? I would say sometimes a little bit too soon. I've done it when I've been younger. Like, I've expected way too much, way too soon. You know what I mean? So I know a lot of women can see it from my perspective, but a lot of men can also listen to the track, and it's quite funny because a lot of men like that track. A lot of men do like Fess Up. So yeah, I
think the reason why, because it comes from like a really nice way to where when you're in that situation, it's not a nice situation. It's like, Fess Up, like what's happening? Fess Up, hey, this is a tune. Like, I remember that moment. I could bounce to it, but at the moment when this situation happened, I couldn't bounce.
You weren't bouncing.
You were looking away like
stiff. No bounce.
I don't know, babe. It's complicated. Like I'm not there yet, but it's like, Fess Up, hey. It's a good one. But yeah, you kept saying we move under pressure.
Yeah, pressure.
I honestly, I feel like, me personally, this is my favorite song.
Really?
Honestly, can we just talk how amazing the song is? Like, honestly, it is amazing. I think in every EP that I've loved, and I love this EP, every EP I love, there's always that one song where I'm like, I want to know what it was like when you heard the beat.
Yeah.
Because the guitar and the piano. Wait.
Dante's a goat.
But no, it was when I listened to it, I was like, this guy's rude. This guy is rude. And a lot of the time when I hear these type of tracks, it's either goes three ways. Either it was like all tracks, I think, is either three ways, where it's like the production A1 and the lyrics dead. It's lyrically, this is sick, but it's on a horrible beat, or it's pitch perfect. Yeah. And this song for me it's perfect. Like, you know when you hear like, oh, this remix, don't even remix this one. It is pitch perfect. How did that all come about?
So this was one of the ones I wrote at home, and I actually demoed it at home because I have a little setup. And I heard this kind of like beat. It was like a sensual. It wasn't anything like, it was the beat. The structure of the beat is very, very similar, but it had this kind of, I don't know, it was very laid back, a sensual vibe, and I started writing to it, and I was just like, this is different. And then it was just like, I just kept on coming, I just wanna get to know if you're really down. I just kept on hearing that, and I was just like, all right, I've never heard anything like this, but let me put it down and then see what it's like. And then when I went to the studio with Duante just, listen, we're gonna have to have a conversation with him, because I don't really understand what was going on in that guy's head, because he just took it to a whole nother level. And then when he played in the guitar, and then there's certain bits of the song where like when I'm singing, he's following me, like he's repeating what I'm doing, but with the guitar, like, and I'm just like, how do you even think of that? But all of that came afterwards. But initially, we just thought, when we were recording, we just had like a basic beat most of the time when we were recording. But then when he plays in and we're sat there and I'm sat behind him, when he's on the computer and I'm sat behind him, and he's like playing in these extra instruments.
Because it feels for me is like, when I hear it, like this is a really like Latin flavor, and the piano comes in and it's like, because you can't really describe it. It's just you listen to it and you're like, this is it. This is it. This is amazing.
It's one of them tracks, man. And then I don't know if you noticed the difference between the single and then the EP. I put the harmonies in. I don't know if you noticed that, but that was something that I had planned to put in the single. And then I was just like, I kind of want to rock people a little bit. So I kind of want people to hear it and then be like, oh, damn, what'd she do there?
Yeah.
So that's why I was very big on not having the same song as the single. I just wanted to.
I feel that's very. I feel people don't do that. I heard that, and that's literally my question. People don't do that these days because some rappers, some artists, I listen to their singles and they get to the album, I'm like, brother, you put half the album out already.
Yeah.
Like I wanted something brand new, but then listen to it on the EP. I'm like, okay, cool. This is something that's different and it's refreshing because now I can listen to this project with a whole different eyes and ears.
Yes.
And I think it's very important for people to do that. And I think we'll go in a way in as well. I think everybody just puts out music, but not the love of the music is there, and that shows the love of the music is there.
Thank you, man. I try.
I try. Like, you know, I do.
I do. No, because it's easy to just bang out music because you want to be heard. It's so easy, but it's like you got to take it easy. You've got to not do a disservice to yourself and actually allow people to take in what you've got. And if people are going to take in what you're making has to be top tier. You've got to put in your all into this, because otherwise it's only you that's going to be losing when it's out and nobody's saying anything to you and you're upset because you haven't put in the necessary work to make it the best product it could be. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do. I've done that. I used to do that. I was so desperate to put out music.
Let's go on to What About Us. It really, for me, I just hear 90s vibe to it. I just really like, it takes me back to I think when I hear, and I think I have a two headspace about it. I feel like one, as R&B, I know we loved R&B in the 90s, but I think partly we need to get over the R&B being in the 90s because in 2021, was a whole 22 decades. We moved on. But at the same time, I really like it because it gets me this nostalgia feel. Yeah. And this song for me really, it didn't go on the I'm tired of 90s, but it made me feel a nostalgic feel to it. Yeah. So tell me more about this project. Tell me more about this track.
So this track, for me, at the time when I was writing it, I wouldn't say I was going through what the song is about, but I could relate. Like every time I start to write, I had the concept, I knew it was going to be, what about us in terms of, being with someone for a long time and they don't appreciate you and just putting it all out on the plate. Like, not like you're upset and crying or you're, heartbroken. It's kind of like, when you're so upset or you're so angry, it's like you chuckle to yourself, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, right, am I actually...
Am I moving out of pocket at the moment?
Do you know what I mean? So when I was writing it, that's the kind of viewpoint I was coming from. And I just really wanted a guy to listen to it and just feel, like, be like, like lots of jabs, like, like, ouch. Like, that's how I wanted it to be. And I wanted to be able to say everything that I wanted to say. And funny enough, after I wrote the song, like, it's very much relates to me now. Yeah. Like, I relate to it from my relationship that's just ended. That's how I feel about it. Exactly. So when I was, again, that was written probably about a year ago. And I just had left it, and then I'd come back to it and I'd said, this is what I want to be on a project. There's a reason why I haven't released it, because there's a lot of tracks that I knew I was saving for the EP.
I like that. I feel artists either make music for their past selves, they make music that they can listen to now, or their music for their future selves. And where you're just talking about now, I just feel like it was one of the both of them, like, for the past and then now your future. Now. I really like that. It's really poetic too.
Yeah.
Faded Memory. I have to ask you this question. Who hurt you?
Wow.
this song for me, I was just like, it annoys me, and it annoys me that COVID exists. because if there's any song I want you to perform live,
it's this song. Everyone's saying that.
It really, it's a classic. Like it's instant classic, and that. In my head, in a weird way, I can imagine a video.
Yeah.
I can literally imagine a video. I can imagine you walking. Like, this.
Yeah, explain, because you never know. Please, I want to hear.
Hey, copyright, listen. You use this shit. Hey, everybody listening, if this comes out.
If you alter it, it's not copyright. Do you know what I mean?
No. I feel this is for, maybe it's me in my concert, but I feel like for me, if you can relate to, you can relate to it. But have you ever been, you ended the relationship and you go back to the places that you used to go, and you're just like, oh, thanks. Like I used to have pizza there with this person. I remember when I went bowling, and I feel like you were walking down this road, but you've been with your person, and your memories are coming on, and you're singing, and it's just in there.
Wow.
And it's like, I see your face. Copyright. Listen. If I don't see money, I don't see money. If I don't see money,
you'll come to an arrangement.
No, but for me, it really got to that point where I was like, whoa, I can relate to it, because we've all been in relationships where it's ended, even like friendships and ended.
Yes.
And it's
thank you.
It's just the mentality of like I've had like a weird way. I've had my closest friends, and we just stopped talking, and it's just weird because you don't want to be that person that messages somebody that, yo, I remember that spot we used to go to, but there's no communication there, but it's in your brain, and it's hard to because your brain will always do that.
Yeah.
And for me, that song is there for me, and it's a classic.
100%. It's so funny because that's the song I was most worried about. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's one of the most vulnerable songs in the EP. And when I am very, very extremely vulnerable, I'm very worried about how people will take it. But that's the one I would say that I don't know. There's everyone's like different ones, but I'd say Faded Memory is the one that people are literally been raving about. And I just sat there and I'm like, because some people have always said you'll put out a body of work, and the one that you don't think is the one that's going to be the one. They always say that.
I saw Dave when Dave was in Murky Fest. J5 was with me. He was like, remember when you said location would be a dead tune? Remember when you said location? No one would mess with location. You said you did one on the project, and it's one of the biggest ones. So it's a perfect example of what you're saying. Exactly.
But I would say, once again, Faded Memory. I've been hurt. I've been hurt by friends. I've been hurt by exes. I've just been hurt. Do you know what I mean? Like, as we all have. I'm in my 20s now. I've gone through a fair bit of it. So when me and Dante were writing this, I literally felt it, because it was like we were writing it from scratch, you know, with the beat already kind of composed, so I could feel it. He'd already put in certain elements, and it was really nice to write to, but it also kind of got me in my feelings, because you're bringing up all of these past feelings that you've had, and you know, even like, for example, MI5 General, like his undercover, like it's just, you're slick, sneaky. Do you know what I mean? And it's a lot of people can betray your trust and surprise you and disappoint you, and I feel Faded Memory is definitely like disappointment.
I think human beings are weird. Like I always said, human beings are weird, because we have the ability to do everything. People can be like you're a rock 1 minute and you blink and these people are stabbing you behind your back, and it's I think for me it's just like human nature is human nature, and there's nothing you can do. You just have to live your life, innit? And I think overall your project really portrays that mentality of, listen, this is life, you get hurt, this is how you get hurt, but we keep it moving.
Still a bad
beat. Yes, man, don't ever get it twisted. I respect that.
And that's what the artwork I wanted to embody through the artwork as well, because that was also a transition, because I was wearing on one side I was wearing the blue blazer and I was smiling, I was happy, and that represented the first half of the EP. And then the second half is like I look like I'm in black and I look like an absolute baddie, and that's just representing the second half of the EP. So
So overall with the EP, how were you able to be vulnerable? Because you said like you were worried about what is it like to put your feelings on a piece of paper like that?
Because I don't appear to be vulnerable to others, it's quite hard, because it's like people start tapping into that other side, and people literally take my music like literally to the T. So they might hear Faded Memory and think I got hurt yesterday kind of thing. So it can be a lot, but I don't know. I think it's good to be vulnerable, and I think it's good to kind of teach yourself to be open to being vulnerable, because people can understand that side of you, and people relate to you through music a lot more than we think, because it's not us listening. You know, I'm used to listening to myself, but there's a lot of people that listen to me and then they act like they're overworked, like they're so like excited. I'm just like, oh, it's just me. But you know, that's the vulnerable side of me that I put in my music. That's what draws them to me. And I need to just accept that sometimes.
So overall, the project now being out, what has it been like? Because I know when people put out stuff like it's their baby, you get that worried feeling. What has it been now? It's out on the open, people have had time to receive it. What have you felt about it? Yeah,
like the reception's been really, really, really good. I think people have been waiting for me to release a project. They've been stepping on my neck, can't lie. So I feel like there was already that sort of anticipation there, but actually it being out and seeing that people are going out of their way to search for it, stream it, tag me in it, I'm like, right, okay, you guys are really rocking with this EP in it. So yeah, it's been overwhelming. Wow, it's been overwhelming, really, the response to it. But I think my main aim now is just to continue to push it. Like I know it's out now, but I've still got a few more months where I need to continue to push it, because this body of work is so awesome that the world needs to hear it. And I can't do myself the disservice of just releasing a body of work and just being like, okay, that's it. You know, on to the next one. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I have this conversation with people all the time, especially when they release a project. I'm like, one, you need to enjoy it. You need to like enjoy the process. It's a hectic process. You're trying to milk where all the cows are laid and everything, trying to really get people to opportunity to hear it. So enjoy the process. It's a hectic one, but also allow people to digest it.
Exactly.
Because I feel like we're in a day and age. I would, like, for instance, D-Block Europe, they're putting out 3 or 4 projects every year. But for me, when I listen to it, I'm like, okay, cool, what's next? But I don't have the time to be like,
you don't have the time to go through it all.
And I think you don't have the time to experience different places. Like, you can have, like, I feel especially if you're a 90s baby, you understand exactly what I'm saying, that when you heard songs on the radio, when you heard songs on TV, when you heard songs in the car, they're all different things. They could be the same song, but you have different experiences. I can't play like certain Ed Sheeran songs in my car, because it's just not the same thing. But I can play certain Ed Sheeran songs on my ones. It's the same thing. Like, I think what we do to these days, especially with this style streaming, which put or we don't allow people to absorb it. And I think when you do it, it allows time people to absorb it. Because one moment I might love Fess Up, and the next moment I might love What About Us. And I just think you need it help people to give that time. But how are you gonna do that? Like, my question for you: how are you gonna do that with COVID? And how did COVID affect you putting the project? Because you said you did some stuff over Zoom. How was that process like?
Well, COVID affected me from the beginning. Even with Crashing, I recorded Crashing in my house. So, and like, not a lot of people know that, but that was recorded at the beginning of the last lockdown. So COVID kind of like pushed me to find alternative ways of still remaining consistent and still putting out work. So in order to push the EP, you know, I'm going to do like various videos, various acoustics. I'm just going to really try as much as I can over the next few months. I've got like a plan, but you know, with COVID and everything, that shows that plans don't always get followed. Listen,
there's your plan and there's Boris' plan.
Basically, like, who cares about my plan? But I think definitely for the next few months, I'm going to definitely work on pushing it, because, for example, What About Us? That still needs, you know, a video. And, you know, I'm very visual. People know that I like to release visuals, because I do feel like it lets people understand where your vision was at. So, yeah. So I'm just going to try and think of as many ways as I can. And I haven't even got all the ways in my head that I'm going to push it. But I know it will definitely come to me as the months go on.
That's good. Yeah. Well, if you got an idea for Faded Memory, I don't know who has an idea.
I don't know. You don't know. Someone has an idea. Now my head is just doing.
Nah, man, it's all good. Thank you very much for coming. What can we expect for you? I know the EP is the point, but what are we expecting for the rest of 2021?
So I've been working with a lot of different artists, like featuring them. So I definitely think even if you don't hear like a release apart from, you know, what I've released from my EP in a while, there will be music collabs with other artists.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Nah, I can't wait to hear. So where can people find you? Where can people see more of your amazing talent and amazing singles? So
I'm on all platforms, like all streaming platforms. So if you just type in Cheryll with 2 L's and then type transition, I'll probably come up on the platforms. And then on social media, I go by Also Cheryll. That's with 2 L's as well, because we already have one Cheryll.
I feel like that you heard, like, I wanted that name so good.
Anyway, that I got over that. Like when I first started, I got over it, but I was just like, oh gosh, like, I would be the amazing if I was the only Cheryll. Like, it'd be amazing. But 2 L's in it.
Nah, 2 L's. All right. So thank you very much.